Detroit, we have inspired the world through our fashion, films, TV shows, and especially music. Whether you call us Motown or the Motor City, we are the culture. Detroit welcomes you to the Culture Conversations podcast. AT Network presents the Culture Conversation podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Thompson II. Today, we got a guy in the building that I knew for a long time as one of the music producing engineering goats. And then he slides over here to the TV film industry. But I got a question for him to open up, though. Joe.
Yes, sir.
Why you don't come on? I didn't know y'all both over 10 years. Y'all ain't put me in a movie yet, dog.
I didn't know you acted. You're an actor?
I will play a bus driver.
Say less. Now, when we call you now, don't be oh, man, I got to fly out.
Nah. You know, I keep it 100.
Studio working. Oh, man, I can't do it.
Nah. but I just want people to understand your history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about this man has worked with legends in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about gospel legends,
mm-hmm.
R&B. Talk about it, Joe. I know you a guy that don't talk that talk all the time. You laid back, but can you please talk that talk today, please?
Yeah, so I started like taking piano lessons when I was 10. So like by the time I was 16, I was doing professional studio sessions like as a keyboard player, you know, in high school. And you know, from there I started being MD, which is short for music director, MD. For different artists, different stage plays, going on tour. I did a lot of gospel stuff.
I forgot about the stage play run too.
I
forgot about that.
Yeah, so you know, on the gospel side, like people like the Clark sisters, three-time.
Hold on, stop. He said the Clark sisters. Yeah. Everybody clap it up for the Clark sisters. Those are legends.
3-time Grammy Award-winning Clark sisters. Let's be clear. And Fred Hammond and
yes.
A lot of people like that. On the R&B side, I did a lot of studio work. There's a producer here named Michael Powell,
mm-hmm.
who was Anita Baker's producer. He used to have a studio in Oak Park called Vanguard. Everybody came through there, from Aretha Franklin to Lauryn Hill to R. Kelly. Everybody recorded there. And so I used to do a lot of work, keyboard work up there. On different records at the studio. So that was kind of like my music production and, you know, gigging and doing studio work.
Let me hit Joe with something because he probably don't remember this.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I met Joe was at the studio where, I don't know if Hell of a still there, but the studio right behind Wayne State.
Yep.
And I came in there, me and young RJ, we was 14 years old. And you was working with the Clark sisters.
Yeah.
That's when the first time I met you.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there watching you roll around back and forth and kept tracking, working on their tracks.
Yep, that's United Sound Studio.
That's what it was called.
Yeah. That's a legendary recording studio.
Yeah.
Parliament Funkadelic used to record there back in the 70s. The Dramatics. Aretha Franklin recorded Freeway of Love there in the 80s. Like, that's a legendary recording studio.
Because I remember, you probably don't remember because we weren't allowed to talk. No, for real, we weren't allowed to talk. So it was like, I'm watching you orchestrate and watch you move around, and there's certain people, you know, you did the head nod, shaking their hands, talking, and we're just watching you and we're just like, wow.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
So I just want people to know, like, you've been like, I don't think people so familiar with you now with film that they don't know the Joe from side. The music. Like you was one of them. You not say was you one of them guys. So
and I downplay it too.
I know you do.
Just because it's like it's so hard when people know you for one thing, it's so hard to get them to see you as something else. So it's like once you're doing something else, it's like I don't talk about the music side because I don't want to like people just see you as one thing. You know, they see you as what they met you as doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely, man. Like the music is still in my bones. I still love it. You know, and I'm gonna get back to it. It's fun. I don't even score the movies I produce.
Really?
No, I don't touch none of the music. I sign off on it, but I have other people do it.
Is it just because you want to give opportunities?
No, it's just by the time, like, creatively doing the movie part of the movie is enough. It's like, then I don't want to have to think about the music side of it. So I'm working on a film now where there's some music moments where I specifically heard certain things. I might touch it then, but yeah, that would be too much. Now, I've had people hire me to score their movie, but that was easier because I didn't have to concentrate on the movie. I was only scoring it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
When last time you mixed?
A couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
And what are you tracking on, or what will you be when you come back? Hey, y'all, I hope y'all don't mind. I'm trying to steal a little bit of sauce real quick. So, like, what will you be recording and editing with and tracking on when you come back to music?
I am a diehard Pro Tools guy.
Okay.
Diehard Pro, and I know a lot of other producers and stuff. They use a lot of other software. I'm a hardcore Pro Tools guy. I have it. I have Logic. I have Reason. I have all the other DAWs, but Pro Tools is my go-to.
That's your go-to.
That's what I learned on.
That's the industry standard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the reason why I locked into that, other than is what I learned on, but also I wanted to be able to go anywhere in the world to any studio and be able to work
and just drop. And you ain't got to worry about transferring and all that. Retracking.
Yeah, or going, do y'all have this? Do y'all have this software? Do y'all have? Oh, y'all don't have that. Oh man, I didn't want to have that problem. Yeah. And then also, the industry is funny because even though other DAWs are just as good as Pro Tools, like when you deal with record labels and stuff like that,
they don't like changing.
Yeah, so they'll ask, like the A&R guy might ask, what do you record on? And you say Pro Tools, they're like, oh, okay, cool. They feel good.
It's like a relief.
Yeah. It's like it legitimizes you. So if you're just in your own box, in your own world, in your own studio, creating in your own lane, then you can branch out more. But when you're doing a lot of industry stuff, you got to be able to at least say you can work in the stuff that they're familiar with.
So how do you feel about I'm just going to ask this quick part. How do you feel about studios now? Do you think that they're as needed as they once was? Or do you think that, a lot of youngsters is just tracking anywhere? And I'm going to say it that respectfully. Yeah. And it sounds like anywhere.
Right. Yeah, technology, man, has evolved. Like when I first got in the game, man, like you had to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of equipment in a studio to get a professional sound. And now it's like all you need is a laptop, literally. And so
I'm not gonna say all you need is a laptop, but I know the theory.
Absolutely. Like you don't need a room full of equipment. Yeah. Like you can do a laptop, a mic, a MIDI keyboard, and I mean I know people that have made amazing records on minimalist setups. But I do see the value in a studio because it's an environment, it's a creative environment. And especially when you're in a professional studio with a professional engineer, that takes your sound even further. So I would never say that you don't need a studio. I would just say if you don't have a studio, don't let that stop you. But yeah, you need the environment. You need the soundproofing and the microphones and the preamps and the this and the that. You got to have the stuff, man.
I really feel like now the small setup is for pre-production. I feel like you create that, then you already know when you go into the studio to do the final product, you already know what direction you're going in, so you don't have to just sit there.
Right.
You actually just start enhancing.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that's how I view it, and I think also the studio helps bring the A&R game back and developing sound, developing artists, because so much community is created within the studio.
Absolutely, that's facts.
So I just wanted to say it in that way, like it ain't always best to sit in your room or in your bathroom by yourself and create an album. It's not always the best method.
No, not at all. not at all. The old school way to me is still the best way because, like you said, it creates a community, it creates a creative environment where you can feed off other people and feed off other musicians, and ideas flow in a room. Like nothing beats that.
So I want to find out, how did the Joe Smith go from music to TV film production? Like, how did this happen? Like, to me, it kind of hit me out of nowhere because I didn't even know you was going that direction. And one day I look up, I'm like, Joe, when you come over here, dog?
So it was an evolution, right? So it went from me being music director for stage plays, right? And then getting into theater production. So one thing that I always tell people is you got to stay curious. I've always been curious. So how I became a producer was when I went into the studio to play on records. I wanted to know what all the stuff was. What's the mixing console? What kind of speakers are these? How does this work? I'm asking the engineer questions. You know what I'm saying? So I did the same thing in theater. I'm a music director. I'm in the band pit, but I'm looking at the lights. I'm looking at the set. I'm looking at all of the sound effects, all the things that go into making this production. So I went from music director to producing my own stage plays. Yeah. And so then there was in the early 2000s, there was a whole bunch of like independent, smaller playwrights around town. And so then slowly but surely they all start migrating to film. Dennis Reed started in plays. Kamal Smith started in plays.
Dennis went from books.
Yeah, he went from books to plays to film. You know what I'm saying? So then my first play was Diamond Girls.
That was a play?
Yeah, it started as a stage play.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I did it as a stage play. And so how I got into film is I wanted to produce a documentary about the subject matter. So Diamond Girls is a story about women who date guys in the street life. Yeah. So it was the streets from the female perspective. The girlfriends, the baby mamas, the wives, what do they see? What do they experience?
Most of them end up being in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I got this stage play, so I'm like, I want to produce this documentary where I'm interviewing actual women who live this life. So I didn't have money to hire a crew, so I bought a camera, bought some lights, bought the microphones, and started filming it myself. That was my first step into film. Yeah. I watched YouTube videos, so again, that's back to staying curious.
What's so great is you already understood the audio process.
Absolutely.
Because the sound, most of the time, the issue with most people starting going into film is audio.
The audio is bad.
And you already had the audio game on lock.
Absolutely. So I started doing documentaries. And then from there, like around the pandemic time, everybody started, right before the pandemic, actually, everybody started jumping into the film game. Everybody was moving from stage plays to film. So I made the leap. I had a lot of friends from the play world that were now in the film game. So I just was asking a bunch of questions, and I was like, all right, let's jump off the porch.
So has the play game, the art of stage plays, is it dying down, or is it still alive and moving at a rapid rate? Like, what's going on in that area?
It's not like it was before, because everybody started hearing about all the money being made in the indie film game. So everybody's doing the film thing, but I do want to get back to live theater because it's like it's a whole different energy. Yeah, man. And it's nothing like that immediate response of the crowd, the laughs or the gasp or the crowd yelling at the stage. It's nothing like that energy. And then I always tell actors that they should do theater because it sharpens their skill set, because there is no cut. There is no take 3 or take 4. It's you're on stage, you're going to live or you're going to die. If you forget your lines, figure it out. Yeah. But that breeds a certain thing in you and your skill set. So I love theater. I want to get back to it. Yeah.
So do you think I could do theater?
What is your acting pedigree, sir?
Do you think I could act?
What is your acting experience?
Well, my grandmother told me I act a fool every day, so you know what I'm saying? So I've been doing this a long time. I'm 20 years in the game, man. You know what I'm saying?
I always tell people it's the difference between acting and acting up. They're not the same. And that's the thing, though. Like, people think because they have big personalities and because they're funny and they're loud and they're animated that they can act. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, it's so much deeper than that. It's a craft. It's a skill set.
Well, I don't know, because some people I see act every day. They act like they happily married. They act like they going to work and they ain't got no job. They act like, it's a whole lot of people that have been acting for 30 years and they just don't get paid for it.
Yeah, you're right. But that's still more of a freestyle thing. Okay. Like if we're filming a movie, I need you to walk through that door, close the door a certain way, spin around, say your line, set your coat on the couch, and walk in that room. And I need you to do it the same way 20 times. That's where the challenge comes in.
Man, there's plenty of women that's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, a lot of people have wanted to do that, and they got in it and found out it wasn't what they thought. It's a lot of hard work. Yeah, absolutely.
They tried.
Absolutely.
I always believe in, like, you say you want to do something, you say that you're passionate about something, but have you tried it? Have you attempted to do that thing?
Absolutely.
How do you know that? Like, even I talk to my kids, I got Entertainment University, my youth program. So, like, even when I talk to my kids, when they say that this is their aspiration in life, and I say, okay, how do you know that that's what you want to do? And we talk about it. Like, what does it take to get to that goal?
Right.
How much money do they make? How much schooling does it take?
Yes.
Is it 4-year schooling? Is it trade schooling? And really knowing, because, growing up, a lot of times people be like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Okay, but you don't even like going to school.
Right, exactly.
So, like, let's really talk about, let's set real goals.
Yeah.
And that's how I push everybody around me, is to set real goals. And how do you really get to that end game to where you're trying to get to? Yeah.
And that's in essence what I'm saying, is that people look at acting as is just something that anybody can do.
Oh, no.
And they don't do the research and the homework of what's really involved with it. So that's why I always encourage people, be a background actor. When these producers are asking for extras and people to come on set and be in a club scene or be in a church scene, a funeral scene, go so you can be around the process and see how it's done and see what it takes and see if that's something you want to do for real.
And I also believe in people, tapping into their purpose.
Yes.
Finding out who they are,
Absolutely.
Who God called you to be,
Right.
and then connecting and operating and moving in your purpose.
Absolutely.
Because you got to become an expert. The goal is to become an expert at something. Don't do 5 million things.
Right.
Become an expert in something.
At something, exactly. Yep, I agree 100%. And that can evolve over time. That can be a journey. Again, I started in music. Here we are in TV and film, and then now getting into streaming. So, it's like it's a journey. It's not just doing one thing forever. It can be, but again, to your point, you have to know if what God has for you, if that was his purpose for you, is to fulfill this role in this way, your whole tenure in whatever, or is it an evolution for you?
And what's going on in streaming?
So I'm building a streaming platform called Mainstream, and it's TV, film, music, and podcasts, and live events all on one platform. So it'll be smart TV apps, it'll be phone apps, the whole nine. So been working on that for like the last year, because I just believe you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Tubi is amazing. At some point, it is going to go away. And then what is going to be the next thing? Right now, there is no next thing. Not in the same way that Tubi exists for us as independent filmmakers. There are other streaming platforms out there, of course, but not in the same. They don't serve us in the same way that Tubi serves us. So my thing is, I could wait for Tubi to run out and then figure out what's next, or I could create what's next. So that's my goal, is to create what's next.
What is it that you feel you're better at? Do you still think you think you're better at TV and film now than music, or skill set? What do you think you're the best at?
I think they're intertwined, and the thing that I am good at, other than being creative and creating stories and telling stories and creating narratives, is identifying the talent in other people that will help bring that vision to pass, right? So I always say that film is a team sport. You know, it's like you have to be able to, once you create a script or license a script or whatever the case is, you then have to be able to identify the talent, both actors and crew, that can tell that story effectively and bring those people together and lead them effectively to an end result. So that to me is what I would call my superpower, is my ability to see what's in you and see where you fit in this puzzle, and then coach you if you need coaching, or let you be free to create and do your thing if that's what's needed, and being able to see that through to the end. And so I did that in music, and I'm doing that now in TV and film. It's kind of the same energy.
I wanted you to see this. You don't have to say it on thing, but.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's why I said that. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So we on the same wavelength.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
man.
that's like, when you said that, I said, okay, God, you funny.
You know what? There's a quote by Steve Jobs that I love, and I always repeat. Steve Jobs said, everything that we see that we call life was created by people that are no smarter than you. So everything was created by somebody. It's all the creative ability of God that he's put in each one of us. We all have the ability to create things. So when I look at a Netflix or Amazon or this or that was all created by people. They were created by human beings. They weren't created by aliens from another planet.
That stuff was so spot on. I mean, it's exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was interesting. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And kudos to you too, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I know a couple of other people that are looking to do the same thing, and it's like, cool. Let's all do it.
Let's all do it.
We all can be out on the yacht and smoking cigars and strategizing and planning and moving forward, man. That's what I want to see.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What's the next project that you developed that's coming out?
So, A Good Man 2 just came out on Tubi last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's been going crazy. If you haven't seen A Good Man Part 1, go watch both of them. And then right now I'm writing a series. So Diamond Girls was my first movie. It's also on Tubi, but now I'm turning into a series. So I kind of left the movie off at a cliffhanger. So I was going to do a part 2 to the movie, but I'm like, nah, let's do a series. So I'm writing that now.
I just finished the series. Well, we just finished writing season 1.
Okay.
And then I'm going back to do the rewrite, and I've been shopping it recently.
Yeah,
So,
congratulations.
thank you. So I'm trying to see if this one, if God doesn't want it to get picked up by these certain entities, then I'm just gonna go ahead. We're gonna shoot it then.
Okay, yeah.
And then put it out on our own stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, like, I love what y'all doing. I think it's amazing what y'all doing.
Thank you.
And I like the way y'all just steady putting that work in.
Yeah.
Because you ain't never stop.
No.
So yeah, you just, like, people be thinking, like, all right, when I get 40, when I get 50, I'm done. Man, you make these young boys look crazy. Because you be out here, like, you done raise your kid. You know what I mean? You out here just moving.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, man, you gotta stay hungry, man. And you know, I have a vision of where I want to go and where I want to be, and I'm not there yet. So, you know,
Me neither.
I'm gonna either get there or die trying. But what I'm gonna stop for?
Yeah.
You know, It's funny, like you ever watch a documentary on ants, man? They just keep moving, bro. And you can put whatever obstacles in front of them. They just go over it. They go around it. They figure it out, you know? And so that's my mentality. It's like, okay, we don't have this. We don't have the resources. We don't have that. Let's figure it out. Let's go another way. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's how you have to be, bro. I don't subscribe at all to victim mentality. I can't stand it. Yeah. I can't stand people who talk like victims. I can't stand it. It's like let's figure it out.
Yeah, I got people around me that be talking like victims, man. I be trying to get them away from me, dog.
Yeah, bro. Oh my God, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
And my thing is, why you gonna give the enemy and give the problem power instead of manifesting and giving the source, tapping into the source and giving the solution power?
Absolutely. Because that's what we do, bro. Like, that's our pedigree. As black people, man, we are masters at making lemonade out of lemons and figuring it out and paving our own way and digging our own tunnels and making our own thing happen. So it's like you can't be a victim and a victor at the same time. Like you gotta pick a struggle, pick a side.
So you said the victory can't happen when you're in the victim mentality.
It won't. It'll run from you. It'll run from you. So I learned that early, man, and just even that my parents taught me that growing up. Like, they wasn't trying to hear it. It's like, okay, I hear you. What you gonna do?
So, question, because you have so much wisdom, knowledge, and longevity, what is some of the mistakes you made that you can tell the people to avoid and how to maneuver? What's some of the biggest mistakes you made in the industry? Like, what are some things that you was like, that was a major roadblock, and I know if I didn't do that, I could have got felt, or this is how I would maneuver around that?
Sometimes I've had the tendency to be too conservative and not take enough risk, and not really step out in certain things, you know, and what broke me out of that was COVID. So when COVID first hit in 2020, I caught COVID.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, I was in the hospital on a ventilator. Yeah. And literally, the nurse told me when I came off the ventilator, she was like, only you and one other person in this whole hospital survived being on the ventilator.
Jesus.
So
today I feel like this has been a miracle couch.
Yeah, for sure.
My
man.
God.
So
this is the miracle couch today.
When I was laying in the hospital, like recovering, I was like, when I get out of here, excuse my expression, I'm balls to the wall. Yeah. I'm going hard. Like, cause I could have, if I would have died, I would have took all this stuff with me. Like, that's crazy. That's not gonna happen.
All them dreams in the graveyard.
Like, I'm not letting that happen. So that was what like made me, and I was going hard before.
Nah, yeah, you turned up.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, let me tell you how much you turned up. You turned up like you was 21, fresh out of school, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, going after a new career type.
Yeah, bro. I was like, I'm going after it, man. It's like, because that really, nothing makes you feel more alive than almost dying. I say that all the time. Like, it teaches you the value of life, you know, and I've had plenty of friends that died young and stuff like that. But it was just like, when I went through it, it was like, oh no, like, I'm leaving, I'm dying empty. I gotta get all this stuff out, then I can go.
So what was it that got you through those times and moments? Like, what was your thoughts even on the ventilator? Do you remember those thoughts or feelings?
No, because on the ventilator, they put you to sleep.
Sedated.
Yeah, so I don't even remember being on it. I remember waking up in the ICU. And but I do remember being in the hospital because, you know, you can't get up. You're literally laying in the bed watching this TV. And so all while I'm in the hospital is when COVID is ramping up. So I'm looking at the news reports and the death toll is going higher and higher and higher. Jeez. They got refrigerated trucks for all the bodies. They turn into convention centers, into triage. I'm like, And I'm laying in the hospital bed like, let me change the channel. This is getting scary.
Yeah.
You know, and people texting me, like loved ones was dying and stuff like that. So that really, so there was a sense of uneasiness because it was like you didn't know what was happening and you didn't know how bad it was going to get. It was like, okay, when do we hit the bottom so we can start going back up? You know, it was like never ending gloom and doom. But even in that, I was like, you know, it wasn't my time to go or I would be gone. So since I'm here, when I get out of this hospital, I'm going hard.
You know what's crazy? I remember when I was at Michigan State University, I was in college, and Kwame was in office. And he talked about we got to get prepared for airborne viruses. I remember that speech. You remember that? He was like, he talked about a lot of stuff. He's like, we got to get prepared for this stuff. We got to get prepared for airborne viruses. We got to get prepared for, he's talking about new infrastructure.
Yes.
That dude was like,
yeah,
he knew his
prophetic
stuff, dog.
Yeah, yeah.
And then for what he doing now, come on, dog.
Yeah, definitely was prophetic in that, bro.
That junk just blew me away. That came to remembrance. I'm like, Kwame was saying this stuff.
Yeah.
And then to see it happen like that, because we didn't know what it was.
Right. Yeah,
and then
it was crazy.
Stuff started coming to me about, I started hearing people was, I don't want to say prophesying, but they was talking about it 5-10 years ahead of time. Talking about it like, this is going to happen. This is like they knew it was coming down the line.
Yep.
And we as a people just didn't know it was coming down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember when it was, because at first it was overseas, it was in China, it was everywhere else. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's too bad. I hope those people are okay. And so what happened was...
it hit here like in February.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I was in Vegas at the because you know I work in fashion too.
Yeah.
I was at Magic Show. And it was so crazy was my wife, because you know she worked in sports therapy in the medical field. Okay. And she was talking about it. She was like, yeah, I don't know if you should even go on this trip, because I was clowning her. Her and this white lady was the only two on the plane going to Vegas with a mask on. Like, nobody had a mask. Nobody's wearing a mask yet. And my wife had on a mask. I'm sitting here like, you look about crazy as a get up.
Yeah.
And that junk hit. We on the way back. I swear, a week later, that man, they was about to shut. They was shutting down. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she's like, "I told you."
Dog, let me tell you, bro. Like, so I got hired. There was a friend of mine who. She put on an award show. She worked for Microsoft. And so every year they would have an award show for all the black employees at Microsoft. So she hired me to be the music director for it. So they flew me and the band and everybody out to Seattle, and we did the award show. That was the second or third week in February. And so soon as I got back from Seattle, they were I heard on the radio, like, the first reported case of COVID in America is in Seattle. I was like, I'm sorry, come again?
Dude.
I had just got home from Seattle, bro.
Dude.
I was like, no.
It's like we always out of town in February and it hit. As soon as you got back, that junk just like,
it's like crazy, bro.
Man, I was looking at my kids like, sure, I'll put y'all out. Like, I bet not catch nothing. Like, all y'all got, only person can stay is the wife.
Right. Yeah, man, but that was definitely a point in my life where I was like, okay, no more playing. You know, I wasn't playing before, I wasn't slacking before, but like I said, I maybe wasn't certain things. I was like intimidated by. I might not have went as hard, but now it's like, man, I'm doing everything, bro. Yeah.
So, what is the plan that you have laid out for the next 5 years? Like, what is the Joe Smith 5-year plan?
So the main thing that I'm hyper focusing on, we continue the films. We keeping the film thing going because my thing is, you know, as long as that's a thing, we're going to keep it a thing. But really building this streaming platform and spending the next few years. And the goal is to build it, scale it, you know, and then either take it public or exit it. You know, and then move on to the next thing. And then I want to get into other investments. I love real estate, you know.
Yeah, you know they bought Tubi Fox for $44 million.
Yes.
I just want y'all to know these numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I want to get into more investing. I love real estate. You know, I want to do a restaurant. I got a couple of other things I want to do. So
You cook?
no,
Oh, I'm just wondering.
I love to eat. I'm a connoisseur of fine dining and not so fine dining as well. So I want to open a nice breakfast brunch spot. You know, so I'm looking into that. And so, you know, just spending the next 5 years, man, just really pursuing my dreams. I said I was going to go hard until 60. And then from 60 on, I just want to, you know, chill and invest.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
Yep.
Well, man, I want to thank you, though, because, I asked you to be in a movie, but I appreciate you pulling up to a podcast at least.
Well, hey, man, we got to
So
start
thank
somewhere.
you for doing something for your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, man, shout out to you, man. Congratulations on the new season of the show, man.
Appreciate that.
I feel really good seeing our Detroit people, man, on the national platform. You know, so thank you, bro, for going out there and stepping off into that, bro.
I'll be trolling the crap out of them now.
There has to be one. You that one. I get it.
I'll be having a ball every time I'm on the camera. I'm like, time to play.
Right.
Showtime.
Yeah, but I love it that, you know, you guys are representing well, man.
Yeah,
on the
appreciate
national
that.
platform. So shout out to you, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the
bro.
rest of the cast.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody except for my ops.
You have ops?
No, I'm just talking trash.
Okay.
I really don't have no ops, dog.
Yeah, don't have ops.
I don't. I'm just talking trash.
Come on, man.
I'm too blessed for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Leave that to the miserable people.
absolutely.
And even if somebody wants to be your ops, you don't have to engage.
No, I just get my job.
There you go. Nobody can stop what God has for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, again, Detroit, what up, though? This is the Culture Conversation Podcast. We had the great Joe Smith on. Please drop your social media to the people.
Look me up on Instagram at Millionaire Joe. It's all one word, Millionaire Joe.
Millionaire Joe. You hear that, ladies? He's single.
You got to speak it. You got to call it out. But I ain't don't send the ladies my way. That's how you lose the millions. You know, by the time you finish buying bags and paying for trips, now ain't no more millions. But no, Millionaire Joe on Instagram. You can hit me up on. I'm on TikTok too, but I don't really be on there. But just look Joe Smith on TikTok or something.
TikTok is fun, though.
Is it?
It is.
I gotta get off into it, bro.
I really be in my own world. I just be talking trash. That's it.
Okay.
I post and talk. I love, I'm the person, I love for them to come comment on my page because I will have a ball with you.
Yeah, so hit me up on. I'm also on Facebook. So I'm on Millionaire Joe Smith. You know.
Millionaire Joe Smith on the Culture Conversations Podcast. We thank everybody from Detroit to the world tapping in with us. Have a blessed day. Peace.
Peace.